The air in the house was thick that evening, heavy with the kind of silence that screams louder than words. I sat in my armchair, the one with the faded floral pattern that had cradled me through decades of joys and sorrows. My hands, creased, with age and stories, clutched a mug of chamomile tea, now cold. The ticking of the old grandfather clock in the corner was the only sound, each second a hammer to my heart. My daughter, Layla, stood across the room, her arms crossed, her face a mask of steel. "Mama," she said, her voice sharp as a winter wind, "if you don't start pulling your weight around here, I'll have to ask you to leave." I froze, the mug trembling in my hands. The words didn't just sting, they sliced through me, cutting down to the bone. Layla, my only child, the girl I'd raised through sleepless nights and endless sacrifices, was threatening to cast me out of the home I'd helped build. My home. Our home. The same home where I'd braided her hair, kissed her scraped knees, and whispered prayers over her sleeping form. And now, she stood there, demanding I become her unpaid worker, cook, cleaner, errand runner, or lose everything. I'm Maeve Johnson, but folks call me Auntie Mae. At 68, I've seen enough of life to know that love can twist into something cruel, but I never thought I'd see it in my own daughter's eyes. Layla was 42 now, a single mother, to my grandson Jamal, a bright-eyed boy of 16 who was the light of my world. We'd been living together in this old house on Willow Street for 3 years, ever since Layla's divorce left her struggling. I'd moved in to help, thinking it was my duty as a mother. I cooked dinners, folded laundry, drove Jamal to basketball practice. But lately, Layla's demands had grown heavier, her tone sharper. And now, this ultimatum. "Pull my weight?" I said, my voice low, trying to keep the hurt from spilling out. "Layla, I've been helping you every day. What more do you want?" She didn't look at me. Her eyes were fixed on the window, where the last of the October sun bled orange across the sky. "I'm running a business now, Mama. I can't do everything. I need you to step up, full time. No excuses. Or you can find somewhere else to go." Her words were a slap, but it was the coldness in her voice that froze my blood. This wasn't the Layla I'd raised, the one who'd clung to me during thunderstorms, who'd laughed with me over burnt cookies. Something was wrong, something deeper than her words. I could feel it, like a shadow creeping through the house. That night, I lay awake, the creak of the floorboards beneath my bed, a reminder of the life I'd built here. This house had been my husband Roland's pride, bought with his sweat as a mechanic and my hustle as a seamstress. When he passed 10 years ago, it became mine, and I'd welcomed Layla and Jamal back when they needed it. But now, it felt like I was the guest, and my daughter was rewriting the rules. The next morning, I watched Layla closely. She was always on her phone, typing furiously, her face tight with something I couldn't name. Anger, maybe, or fear. She ran a small catering business, one she'd started after the divorce, and it was doing well enough to keep the lights on. But there was something off about her urgency. The way she snapped at Jamal when he asked for pocket money. The way she locked her office door when she thought I wasn't looking. I'd raised her to be open with me, but now she was a locked door herself. "Layla," I said over breakfast, stirring oatmeal I had no appetite for. "What's going on? You're not yourself. Talk to me." She didn't look up from her phone. "Nothing's going on, Mama. Just focus on what I asked you to do. I need you to clean the house today and prep for tomorrow's catering order. I've got a big client coming." I bit back the hurt. "And if I don't? You really gonna kick me out?" Her eyes flicked up, hard and unyielding. "Don't test me, Mama." That was the moment I knew I couldn't just obey. Not out of pride, but because something was eating at my daughter, and I had to find out what. I'd always taught Layla that love means truth, even when it hurts. So I started watching, listening, piecing together the puzzle of her behavior. Over the next few days, I played along. I scrubbed floors, chopped vegetables, folded linens, all while keeping my eyes open. Layla's catering business was busier than ever, but the money didn't add up. She'd come home with new jewelry, a sleek leather purse, things she shouldn't have been able to afford. Yet she was always short on cash, always asking me to hold off on buying groceries or paying the electric bill. And then there were the late-night phone calls, her voice hushed and sharp, words like payment and you owe me drifting through the walls. One evening, while Layla was out delivering a catering order, I found myself alone in the house. Jamal was at a friend's, and the quiet was deafening. I stood in the hallway, staring at the door to Layla's office. It was locked, as always, but I'd spent enough years in this house to know its secrets. The spare key was tucked behind the loose baseboard in the linen closet, a trick Roland had taught me when we'd first moved in. My hands trembled as I turned the key in the lock. I felt like a thief, but this was my home, my daughter, my life. The office was a mess. Papers scattered across the desk, a half-empty coffee mug, a calendar marked with cryptic initials. I opened the top drawer, my heart pounding. Inside was a small notebook, leather-bound, with Layla's handwriting scrawled across the pages. It wasn't a diary. It was a ledger. Names, dates, amounts, thousands of dollars, some marked paid, others owed. And at the bottom of one page, a name I recognized. Marcus Tate. Marcus, Layla's ex-husband. The man who'd broken her heart and left her with nothing but debt and a teenage son. My stomach churned. Why was his name here? I flipped through the pages, my eyes catching words that made my breath catch. Loan, collateral, property. And then, in red ink, a single line that stopped my heart. House title transfer, M. Tate, pending. The room spun. My house. My home. The one I'd poured my life into. The one I'd welcomed Layla back into. She was planning to sign it over to Marcus, the man who'd already taken so much from her. But why? And why demand my labor like I was some servant, only to threaten me with eviction? I didn't hear Layla come home. The front door slammed, and her footsteps echoed down the hall. I shoved the notebook back into the drawer, my hands shaking, and slipped out of the office just as she appeared in the doorway. Mama? Her voice was sharp, suspicious. What are you doing in here? I forced a smile, my heart racing, just looking for some paper to write a grocery list. Didn't find any. Her eyes narrowed, but she didn't push. Not then. But I knew I'd crossed a line, and there was no going back. Over the next week, I dug deeper. I couldn't confront Layla. Not yet. I needed proof. Needed to understand the full scope of what she was hiding. I started small, asking Jamal gentle questions about his father. Does your daddy ever call you baby? I'd say, keeping my voice light. Jamal would shrug, his eyes on his phone, muttering about how Marcus only reached out when he wanted something. It broke my heart to see the boy so guarded, but it confirmed my suspicions. Marcus was still pulling strings. Then, one night, I overheard Layla on the phone again. She was in the backyard, pacing under the old oak tree, her voice low but frantic. I'm doing everything you asked, Marcus. Everything. But you can't have the house. Not yet. She's still here. She. Me. My blood ran cold. I pressed myself against the kitchen window, the glass cool against my cheek, straining to hear more. I need more time, Layla said, She's not going anywhere unless I push her out. The pieces started to fall into place, jagged and sharp. Marcus was holding something over Layla, something big enough to make her betray her own mother. But what? And why the house? I remembered the ledger, the word collateral. Was Layla in debt to him? Had she made some deal to save her business, her pride, her future? I couldn't sleep that night. The weight of it all pressed down on me, heavy as the grief I'd felt when Roland died. But I wasn't just grieving. I was angry. Angry at Layla for letting Marcus manipulate her. Angry at myself for not seeing it sooner. And angry at the world for turning my daughter into someone I barely recognized. The next morning, I decided to confront her. Not with accusations, but with love. That's what Auntie Mae does. Faces the truth head on, even when it hurts. I waited until Jamal was at school, then found Layla in the kitchen, stirring sugar into her coffee. "Layla," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "We need to talk about Marcus, about the house." Her spoon froze mid-stir, her shoulders stiffening. "What are you talking about, Mama?" "I found your notebook. I saw his name. I know you're planning to give him my house." Her face crumpled, not in guilt, but in fury. "You went through my things? How dare you? How dare I?" I stepped closer, my voice rising. "This is my home, Layla. Mine. And you're scheming with that man to take it from me. Why?" She slammed the mug down, coffee sloshing onto the counter. "You don't understand, Mama. You never did. Marcus has me over a barrel. He's got proof. Proof of something I did years ago. Something that could ruin me. Ruin Jamal." My heart stopped. "What proof? What did you do?" Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't answer. Instead, she turned away, her hands gripping the counter. "Just do what I ask, Mama, please. It's the only way." I wanted to shake her, to demand the truth, but I saw the fear in her eyes, the same fear I'd seen when she was a little girl, hiding from monsters under her bed. Only now the monster was real, and his name was Marcus Tate.